Why don't more people talk about thigh chafing?
Thigh chafing?
Thigh chafing. Do you have problems with your thighs chafing?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What kind of underwear do you wear?
Boxers.
Not boxer briefs, boxers.
Boxers, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll wear boxer briefs.
I have a strong preference for boxers. I don't like the constricting feeling or like the clinginess of like any material in my crotch and or upper thigh region, because let me tell you, I got some big thighs.
This guy's thick as hell.
I'm pretty thick, but I think so. I am investigating boxer brief options and seeing if I have to move that direction, because I think, as I've gained a little bit of weight recently, I'm starting to have a problem with summer and thigh chafing, and I'm trying to figure out why no one talks about this, because this has to be a problem that like a lot of people experience. But no one's ever been like, hey man, my thighs are so chafed. Do you have any baby powder? Like we need to normalize chafing.
Sure.
That's my political platform. I'm going to run on normalizing chafing.
All right, you versus Joe Biden. 2024 election. I'll look forward to it.
I will also very selfishly cancel student debt. Everybody vote for me. Last name's hard to say. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sidepole Podcast.
I didn't go to college, so I disagree with that.
What? No. Bad. Moving past that.
I don't have debt.
If you're watching, but you could have got GI college. Sorry, we're not talking about that. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice the Kev doesn't have a webcam and I might be on the wrong side. That's because he's in Sweden and his laptop is broken. How's the major going, buddy?
It's going. Yeah, my to be clear, my integrated webcam has disappeared. That's a very... like, as in, like, literally it's not showing up anywhere. I did the Windows update. I go to update my drivers. I was like, all right, let me do some driver shenanigan here. The device manager doesn't register that there's any cameras at all in my integrated webcam in my Razer laptop. So, standard Razer problems, I would say.
I bet there's going to be one person in Discord or the YouTube comments that are like, well, actually, have you tried? And they might be helpful. So if you have an idea,
yes,
you know, he might.
If you've experienced this, tell me how to fix it. Because in the 5 minutes that I tried to fix it before this show, it didn't fix. So, you know. How's the major going? It's good. It's good.
See, now you're saying like it's good and it's chill. From my perspective, I think it's pretty good. Dare I even say exciting?
Yeah, we almost had a 6-way tiebreaker.
Really bummed about that. Truly bummed about that.
Then it became a 4-way tiebreaker for 3 spots. And I bet you're super bummed about that because Team Liquid, with 3 slots in a 4-way tiebreaker, Team Liquid could not secure one of those 3 spots.
Okay.
That's pretty oof.
So, in the past, I have had issues being a Team Liquid fan and feeling just like the slightest bit of, maybe more than the slightest bit, a little bit of inconsistency. Issues like a little bit of inconsistency, and yesterday that really reared its head for me because I was like, 3 places, we beat Spirit, we had like good games against Thunder Predator, like I'm not like we just got to beat one of them, everything will be fine. And then I think they had their worst day of the major during that tiebreaker because all 3 games were abysmal.
Awful. Just terrible.
Like actually bad. Like, and I'm an apologist. Let's be really clear. I'm an apologist for these boys. Like, I will follow them to the end of the earth. But that tiebreaker day was probably some of the worst I've seen them play since they formed this roster. I don't think that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad day. There is a silver lining. You guys are in the lower bracket. You play tomorrow. Actually, let me give more of the dark cloud. You guys are in elimination, and from what I hear, a shit ton of Liquid people are all coming here.
Oh no.
That's
Is that
yes.
true? Is that pressure?
I believe so. That's what I've been told. That's what Blitz told me. He's like, yeah, a bunch of shit ton of Liquid people are coming. So I don't know when they're supposed to get here, but when that would really suck if they just got eliminated tomorrow.
When does the stage does the stage start tomorrow?
The stage starts on Friday. There's only 3 days of stage stuff.
Gotcha. So they're going there, but there's not like an audience or crowd yet. It's just they're close by in Utrecht, so I'm sure they're just taking the plane over. I guess. I don't know.
I don't know when they get here. I was just told a bunch of Liquid people are coming. So yeah, it would really suck if you guys got eliminated tomorrow. But the silver lining is you guys were in Group B. B for banana. And Group B was very competitive, and Group B seems to be doing very well when it comes to the upper bracket games. Anyway, 3 out of 4 of the teams that moved forward were in Group B.
And Spirit could have been the fourth.
And the one team that, yes, Team Spirit was the other team. Did not move forward from Group B. So I think that says a fair amount. Tundra also looks like unstoppable. They've lost literally 2 games throughout the tournament so far. So they are doing very, very well for themselves. So hopefully that means that you guys are well suited to at least move on from this round. But we'll see.
I won't dwell on this too long, but I really struggle as a fan for those events where you're like really on the cusp of something, because we were 1 game away from not being in that tiebreaker situation, and we probably threw at least 2 games in the group stage. So there's a lot of like what ifs going on. I remember that we were standing here a week ago, and we were talking about a couple things regarding this major. We were doing that thing where, like, we're pundits, we're predicting, we're talking about, like, oh, what do we think's going to happen? And I seem to recall a couple things that stand out in my mind as we were watching this. One, we over-indexed into Group A kind of being the group of death, like I think most people did. And
yeah, almost literally everybody, unless you were being contrarian, you probably thought Group A was being the group of death.
And Group B, like you said, was super competitive. Super competitive. No one got eliminated because Mind Games couldn't make it to the event. So by virtue, they were like all kind of playing for funsies and just for the upper bracket. But even the teams that got lower bracket, which were Liquid via the tiebreakers and Fnatic, they were only like a game back from everybody else. So
yeah,
Group B, super competitive. And then I remember this very vividly, and I promise this is not calling you out because that's rude and no one really knows what's going to happen. But I remember you talking about the potential of like EG to do really well.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Yeah. Did you have any insight? Like, do you have any like fun like inside scoop? Like, what do you know something that I don't? Because holy shit, I would say that what happened to that was embarrassing. At least.
Let me just say that I said that the format was for them because they're slow starters, right? So is it's hard to say so is Team Spirit when we only have really TI to go off of. But Team Spirit actually started off pretty good this time. So I think we could do away with that narrative now. But EG, slow starters, right? And they shit the bed. And they kept taking more laxatives. So they just kept shitting the bed. Until they shit all over themselves and got knocked out of the group stage. They won 2 games out of the 12 that they played. So very, very bad. And yeah, I mean, what do I know? Well, I know that EG is playing like literally the same Dota that they were playing before. I don't think a whole lot changed. And I think that when shit happens, you need a leader, and I think that they didn't. I'm not sure if they had that in-game voice or the drive to change quick enough. That is going to be a perpetual EG problem, I think, in some ways, especially as time goes on. It's like a question of like how hungry they are. When you become back-to-back grand finalists at the major, and then still don't do well at TI, or as well as you would hope, I think motivation might start becoming an issue. Because it's like that weird place of where you're like getting paid really, really well to just kind of keep going. And so I think you combine that with a lack of drive, general contentment, combined with a lack of clear leadership and vision. And I think that leads to a situation where you're not able to adapt quickly when you need to. So they showed up, they tried their EG thing, and it didn't work. And which is, normal EG. Okay, boom, they're going to, now they're going to figure out what to do now that their thing doesn't work. And they had a long group stage to figure that out. And they didn't figure that out. Even going all the way to the final series where they still could have clutched it out and forced a tiebreaker against Beast Coast, and they couldn't even win the first 2 games that they needed to win. Basically, they needed to win the series against Beast Coast in the tie, and then they would have had a best-of-3 tiebreaker after that. So they would have had to play Beast Coast twice, and they couldn't even beat them in the first time. So it's, it's just pretty rough all around. But I had kind of a sneaking suspicion that EG was not going to be a top team at this major. I mean, their DPC performance has not been convincing at all. So, yeah, they in my predictions, I don't have them there. Tsunami, on the other hand, had them winning the whole thing, I think. And Lyrical had them top of their group. So
that sounds
rough
like some
times for those two.
That sounds like some NA copium.
yeah, some mega copium. SVG was very pessimistic about their chances. So that's what a real analyst thinks.
Do you think that your point about motivation can be extrapolated out to kind of what we're seeing this year in general? Because who really are the teams that are performing well, at least right now? It looks like the people who are hungry and maybe not getting big salaries. Look at Tundra. Look at OG, Gladiators, Thunder Awaken, TSM, Bet Boom.
Maybe. I do think that COVID was an equalizer of sorts, that it gave time for these lineups like Viking GG, as an example, got a lot of time. There was Omega League that had a Division 2. We had a full season of lower division that came and went that didn't necessarily produce a whole bunch of new teams, but it at least increased competition. And there are 1 or 2 teams that came in from lower division that are pretty competitive in upper division. I mean, Boom was technically supposed to be in lower division, but that's an organization thing. But yeah, I think it's everyone's making that point that like it's the rise of the new kids, and I do know that motivation for many players has gone down. I just think that Dota players are just kind of unhappy.
Like with their lives.
The veterans are just kind of unhappy with where they're going and where Dota's going, the DPC and stuff like that. So I think more and more people, I think we're going to see a lot of retirements over the next like 2 years, let's say. That would be my guess. We'll see what happens after this TI and what sort of announcement for next year's DPC is. But if I had to guess, we're going to start seeing a fair number of retirements.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
The next bit. I think it's a little bit of a bad thing.
Because like the Arteezy fans go away and don't really come back?
Yeah, kind of. I think the reasoning for me is that there are so many people who still watch Dota but do not play, right? That is the story of so many Dota fans, is that they no longer have time to be able to keep up with the game and keep playing it, but they grew up playing it and they still want to check it out. So they watch Dota instead. And I think one of the things that still ties them to watching Dota is some of the iconic names that have been around forever. Puppy, Kuro, Arteezy. These names, I think, are names that they want to be able to see when they tune into Dota. So I think if some of those names start going away, I do think it means that there's going to be less incentive for people to tune back in. Just some people. So I don't think it's the greatest thing, and I do think that transition for Dota, I think it would be totally fine if, like, out with the old guard, in with the new guard, if Dota was still
growing,
like, as popular as it, if it was still growing. But at this point, maybe less so. But then again, concurrent players and stuff, the average viewer numbers and concurrent players and stuff, those listings, those stats have been pretty decent. So maybe that's a little too doom and gloom from me.
Before we get off the topic of EG, I want to get your take on something. I think it's really interesting that people on social media and Reddit have been just noting and sharing and memeing the visual appearance of some of the players, notably like Arteezy and Jerax. I think we've all seen pictures of them looking like distraught humans. Do you think there's like any valid commentary on that? Like when you look at someone be that disheveled, you go like, oh man, something's wrong? Or is that just like the community taking a frame out of context?
I think most of it is the community to take a frame out of context. I mean, like, I saw Jerax, like, I don't know, less than a day later. I bumped into the hall and he was super happy. He was like, oh, hey, what's going on? So, you know, that's also Jerax is, I think, a pretty...
Yeah. He's got a good disposition.
Even-keeled person. Yeah, like, I don't think he's going to go too deep into the depths of despair. But, I think most of it is out of context, but I think there are certain ones. Like, I do have to imagine that some of the EG stuff. I know this year has been pretty hard for them, just with the DPC and Nightfall and all that stuff that's been going on, where like Nightfall had to play in Mexico, and there were a lot of problems apparently involved with that. So I know there have been a lot of problems and distractions, and so it's probably been pretty annoying. Like Secret is another team that I know also had not like issues full out, but like, for example, I think Sumail and Ice 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 kept on like prolonging their stay based off of how successful their DPC season was going, right? So if they could have secured top 4 early, then they wouldn't have stayed where they were at, you know, and they would have been able to go back home. But, you know, so there was this weird stress of like, oh, fuck, we didn't win. And like now they're staying there for like an extra week or 2 weeks or something like that. So, yeah, I just know that there was some stressful things involved for EG. But I also have to imagine just like longer term, this trio of Artur, Crit, and Bulba. I have to wonder, like, something's got to give if they do not see a bright future around the corner, right? Because in some ways they have gone seriously downhill compared to last year. You know, they were grand finalists at those majors, and now this year they can't even make it out of groups. So I think there's
one team
some
eliminated
that probably need fixing.
The only team eliminated was them, which is, I mean, surely not also what the organization wants. I would have to imagine that there would be some pressure exerted from like EG corporate to be like, hey, yo, we got to figure this shit out. Yeah. That's a big part of their brand, you know?
Yeah, it's a pretty big part of their brand. Though apparently they, I mean, pay-wise and money-wise, and I've heard this from so many TOs and team orgs and stuff that it's not the focus. I don't know what organization Dota is the focus.
Tundra?
You know? I mean, okay, maybe Tundra, but that's because what else do? They do like the
Maybe
football
Rocket
games
League?
or something.
Gaming
They
Gladiators?
do some other stuff, but
Beast
like,
Coast?
yeah, the orgs that are like literally like grew up in Dota, like of course like Dota's their thing, but like of the big organizations that are in like multiple like tier 1 games, Dota is never their focus. It's always League of Legends or CS:GO or Valorant. And same goes with tournament organizers, you know? It's like they're like, this Dota thing is just not great.
I cannot confirm or deny this.
Yeah, I've been just hearing a lot of doom and gloom over the last 6 months about Dota from these various organizations.
Isn't it crazy that Tundra's a TikTok sponsorship?
Oh yeah, they do, huh? I forgot about that.
I'm looking at their website just to like fact check us as we're talking, and I actually don't see them promoting any other teams. Their team roster just shows the Dota team.
Weird.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Interesting. I like to imagine the idea that someone has been in like a coma for about a year or a year and a half, maybe 2, and they wake up and they go to Wikipedia and they're like, oh man, I wonder what Dota's going on. And then they see, oh, it's a major. And they look at the bracket and they see that the top 4 teams in the upper bracket semis are Tundra, a team that didn't exist, Gaming Gladiators, a team that didn't exist with players who you don't really know, TSM, an org that I think is from League of Legends, and a South American team. And then they would go, where's Nigma?
Yeah, where's Kuro? Where's Puppy? Where's the iconic names that I know and love? They're in the trash, kid. Their time is over. They're dead. They're dead to Dota now. Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting time. All of these new teams doing well. I think in some degrees there are a lot of underperforming teams at this major. I think Tundra is one of the few teams that just is kind of like, I think that's why they're so dominant. Not because I think Tundra is like so much better than everybody else. I think like just a lot of teams are underperforming and stuff. I don't know if it's just like the first time being back at a LAN or the fact that yeah, I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe the stuff we were talking about motivation and stuff like that. But yeah, this top 4 of Tundra, Thunder Awaken, TSM, Guardian, and also Gaming Gladiators. The interesting thing is that NA is also in a position where NASA have already achieved top 6, and it's possible that they both achieve top 3 and they end up in the upper bracket finals against each other. I'm not expecting that, but I think TSM could give Gaming Gladiators a pretty good run for their money. I think their style actually does pretty well against Gladiators. I would actually say they're the favorites against Gaming Gladiators. Tundra, on the other hand, looks like super dominant, so hard to say that Thunder Awaken will beat them. I think that's a little bit more 60-40.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I haven't really been able to suss out who has won the dominant meta out of the group stage, because it still feels like there have been some ideas that have been getting played with and heroes that have looked really good but still haven't become like instant first pick or not first pick. I think that from a perspective of the games, I've been the most impressed with almost all of the Underlord play.
Yeah. You know what? I actually, on this note, I think I have figured out something. I think maybe something about, maybe it's the lack of lands, maybe it's the lack of international Dota or whatever, but I think teams are actually really bad at adjusting to other teams' playstyles right now. I think that's also like part of the reason why we're seeing so many. It's I would say a relatively diverse playstyle going on right now. Every team I think has a specific flavor, and you know what flavor that is. Particularly Gaming Gladiators, Thunder Awaken are are in the top 6, and I think those two teams have a very defined play style. And I think teams are just kind of like going with what they know and they think is good and what they're good at, and it's working. And I think teams are kind of bad at adjusting to other teams' play style. And I wonder if that's just being locked in a region where like your play style is very like it's probably very similar to the rest of your region, right?
I think maybe a micro example of this, and again, I'm not the analyst, but like, it's wild to me that I'm seeing Shadow Shaman look like potentially the most dominant hero at this event, and then also just be completely ignored by other teams in other games.
Yeah. I think a good example was T1 versus Gaming Gladiators today. I think T1 did a terrible job because Gaming Gladiators have a very defined play style, and I think T1 tried to adjust. The Enchantress is really big for them. They're going to go for Lankin, Broodmother, Beastmaster, like one of these heroes for Ace, most likely. And they're going to go some sort of Spirit hero for Boom. And they tried like Bristleback as an answer to Gaming Gladiators, which is what Liquid did, and demolished them with it. But like the way they did it was pretty poor, I think. And then game 2 was even worse, where they tried to do like Brewmaster. I think it was just like a really poor adjustment from a team that has succeeded and done very well on the international stage. So yeah, it's that I think that's just one example of many. So yeah, I think there's something to be said. Something's interesting's going on, and maybe I suspect it might have to do something with being region locked for so long.
I'm gonna gush about something that's important to me that's not Team Liquid focused. I've been a Dota fan for a decade. I've been a CK spammer for a portion of that time, and
God,
never not since Alliance Navi like TI finals have I been like excited about Chaos Knight's spot in competitive play, because it has never cracked like the top 10 most picked or banned heroes in 6 or 7 years, right? Second most picked hero at the event. I think it's like a 60% win rate. Versatile to play off lane or safe lane. And I don't... as someone who has played enough games to know like what I really don't like to play into, I'm surprised that no one is like picking things that... choosing to let their opponents play Chaos Knight and then picking things that are good against it. I feel like most games he's just getting to run wild. And like, dude, Tomato, oh god, super fucking impressive Chaos Knight games. Like across the board, the whole event.
Tundra versus Team Spirit featured a Chaos Knight in every single game. Gaming Gladiators were very successful. I mean, that was, I think, one of the most singularly farmed. He had like a GPM of like well over 700.
Yeah, it's wild.
On Duracio's Chaos Knight. So yeah, I think it's definitely one of the carries of the patch. Bye bye Medusa Terrorblade. Nothing like that. Another reason why perhaps EG kind of sucked is their heroes are definitely not meta. So yeah.
I mean, I maybe it's just because, and I know this happens often, so I shouldn't be surprised, but maybe it's just because some of the best CK counters are just so incredibly not meta. I don't think Axe has been picked at all or banned.
No.
Because there's other people in the offlane who you would want above it, like Mars, who is incredibly picked and banned, I think the most. No one, I don't think you can play Phantom Lancer right now. That's probably the most annoying carry matchup for CK. And I don't think anybody's played around with Jakiro. Or Omni Knight. Those are the 4 heroes that I probably hate playing Chaos Knight into the most, and I haven't seen anybody play any of them.
Yeah. I'm looking at the list of heroes that are unpicked right now, and yeah, a decent number of them are pretty good Chaos Knight answers. Axe, Darkseer, Elder Titan, Jakiro's only been picked up a couple times. I think Gyrocopter is maybe okay. I can't remember.
You can play CK in a gyrocopter easy. What am I talking about? I'm not a fucking professional player.
No, your opinion does matter. When you span a hero, you do get to know it very well. You believe me. Do you think you know? Guess how many Chaos Knight games I have, Joey?
Less than 20.
Yeah, probably less than 20.
Yeah.
So
how many Tucky's games do I have? I can't talk to you about that hero. Naga's also pretty shit to play in the Chaos Knight. But yeah, maybe I should just call Blitz.
Yeah,
maybe I should just call Blitz and be like, I should call Aid and then be like, dude, just fucking pick Jakiro. I promise you, just pick Jakiro. And then someone reality riffs, and then you put an ice path down, and then the hero does nothing. All the spells are good against Chaos Knight.
Yeah, it's only 2:40 a.m. right now, so you could probably give Blitz a call. Give him that little tidbit. There's been 6 Jakiro games so far at the major.
Has it lost all of them?
33% win rate. So he's won 2 of them.
That's not bad. If you're seeing CK in your pubs and you play support, try Jakiro out. I promise you'll have a great time. Just ice path the reality.
Hold on. One second. Let me just double fact check this one real quickly.
Okay. We're crunching the numbers.
I saw two EG games that featured Jakiro. I was expecting them both to be losses for EG. Actually, Beast Coast played Jakiro against EG and won with it against Chaos Knight.
Really? So, hey, maybe
there
some.
You go.
This someone hire me. Anything else exciting about the event itself? I feel kind of bummed about Southeast Asia in the lower bracket. They have to team kill and then probably team kill again, if assuming Boom beats OG. So it looks like Southeast Asia is having a rough time.
Yes, but I think it's bad for Southeast Asia as a region, but I think it's good for those 3 teams in a way. Does that make any sense?
Is that because they feel confident against each other because there's a lot of reps? Like, I feel the best.
No. It's more like if one team gets guaranteed points in, and they can get to TI via points, then I think the other 2 teams are pretty happy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Like if we went to a qualifier right now, and let's say Boom, it gets the farthest through this lower bracket, and they get secured points, and then we played the C qualifier right away. I feel like T1 and Fnatic are pretty good chances of going through. There's a lot of competition there. There's like that new Polaris squad and stuff like that, but I do think that they've got a pretty decent chance. Like, yeah, of course you would prefer to have your Southeast Asian teams in the upper bracket right now getting shit tons of points and like opening up a bunch of slots, but would you rather have the guaranteed points for one team or potentially no points for your whole region? That's the other way to look at it, right? If they were on the other side of the bracket, no guaranteed points. And so potentially you could be going back and getting no points this major, and maybe that turns into nobody makes it to TI off of points, and then Southeast Asia is like crazy competitive and bonkers.
Which no one wants to see, yeah.
Yeah. So I think in some ways for these specific teams who are already at the top echelon of Southeast Asia, getting some guaranteed points in, at least getting one team in a good spot to get a TI is good. So, yeah.
I really hope, speaking of regions that like are not, I don't know what the fuck I was gonna say. I should cut that. TSM is really interesting to me right now because they're doing really well and kind of playing exciting games, and I hope that the organization side is seeing like any type of return on investment or like more people become fans of this team or TSM because of it. I think that TSM doing well is good for Dota.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's obviously very good for North American Dota to have a team representing that's actually from NA and is not evil geniuses. So I think that's very good. Just like Thunder Awaken is very good for South America, that there's a team other than Beast Coast. And I was actually telling one of the other talent members, I can't remember who, but it was like day 2 of groups, and I had been watching Thunder Awaken, and I was like, yeah, like it's one thing to see how good they are within South America, but it's another thing to see it against other teams. And I could tell. I was like, I told them that I thought that this Thunder Awaken team was actually going to be the highest placing South American team at Evolve event. And they've already made top 6. So I think that I think Beast Coast got 7th, 8th at TI. And I think Thunder Predator at Singapore, I think got 7th, 8th. I can't remember.
I'm fact checking that one now.
Okay.
One esports Singapore major 2021.
They either got 5th, 6th, or they got 7th, 8th.
5th, 6th.
Oh, they got 5th, 6th. I mean, well, this is a major with an asterisk too. Those are both majors with asterisks, but they're already top 6. So we'll see. Oh man, just imagine if they win tomorrow against Tundra, they're not only are they top 3, but they might be like the favored team.
That could be pretty.
That'd be pretty insane.
I would like this for Dota. I want Thunder Awaken to win, and I want Team Liquid to not shit the bed against Bet Boom, a team that just fucking BB. Who's a Bet Boom?
Look at this dumb logo. It's just 2 B's.
They're different. They're different colors. Like, oh god,
red and yellow is fucking McDonald's.
Shit. Not team related event stuff. Have you been having a good time, at least at the venue itself? Like good spirits, good vibes. I noticed that what's been interesting to me is that there's been a lot of different casting pairs. You casted a game with Slacks, which I happenstance caught and enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you liked it. It was, I mean, honestly, my biggest goal was not getting a gigantic hate thread like the last time me and Slacks casted together at Omega League. So that was my goal for that cast, and we succeeded. So well done to us. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, they're mixing things up. ESL seems to have this like vibe for variety, which was kind of weird because then they only hired 2 casting pairs for playoffs. So obviously that's not a whole lot of variety. But then they were like, wait a minute, why have we done this? And we've got all these people. So they've been switching it up the casting pairs quite a bit. And going into playoffs, they're actually letting me cast until the arena days. So I'm going to cast a series every day of the playoffs until we go to the arena. So that I'm super happy with. To be able to cast some playoff games with SVG is really nice. I wish he could have experienced casting with a crowd. I think that would have been pretty cool for him because he talked to me about it. He says he is looking forward to experience something like that. So unfortunately, we don't get to do that. Well, how soon, Joey?
TI? I don't know. The next major, Dallas.
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 No, that's not happening. TI. That's when it'll hopefully happen.
It'll happen at TI. I hope that they don't. I hope that they don't put you on the T1 Fnatic series because God knows you know nothing about Southeast Asia. So let's really hope that
true. I know nothing about them.
let's just hope for that Bet Boom Team Liquid game.
I actually am on that series. So
beautiful.
Yes. That's the second series tomorrow, so I'm doing that, and then I'm doing one of the upper bracket games the following day, and then we have a break day, and then we go to the arena, and then I'm doing my like late night show thing, where I get some people to sit down and we drink and talk, and and we'll see how good that is. Still very apprehensive about that whole thing, but roll with the punches.
Get Bulba there. People just all you gotta do is talk about Storm Spirit. People will be really happy about it. Nothing else will matter.
I don't think Bulba has any interest in doing that. Bulba has, and it's not because of the Storm Spirit memes. Bulba has moved past the community. He doesn't want to. He wants nothing to do with the public. I would say, which is not terribly surprising given how the community has treated him. So
I would go far as to say that's healthy for someone in his position.
Yes,
that's
very healthy.
No one person should be able to at any time of day see dozens of people hate them.
Yeah, that is
not
good for your mental being.
It's not good.
Yeah. So we're casting some playoff games. I hope we get like just one hype game, because I think SVG and I are a pretty good duo. I feel good about our general pace. I know it's nothing that's like gonna be again like Twitch clip worthy, but I feel, generally speaking, I feel like our duo is like pretty solid, and I'm happy with the way that SVG is working. He's like actively working and getting better, and I think it's going pretty well. Like I can tell, like he's brought his energy level up a lot. Mm-hmm. He's actually bringing in some side hype that's really good. So I think he's doing a great job. And then the only reason it was like me and SVG have been casting together the entire time, but the only reason that we casted with Slacks was we had the tiebreakers, and Slacks really wanted to cast. And so he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, buddy," and I said, "You want to cast?" And he was like, "You got me." So me and SVG casted one. We did a 3-way thing. So me and SVG casted one game, and then he casted with SVG, which I thought was very funny. I actually really wanted that duo to happen because I thought it would help bring out SVG's personality to more people. To have someone as over the top as Slacks, and then that just means that SVG gets to be like full snark, which he does very well. And then I cast it with Slacks as well because I love that man. I love working with him.
Yeah, I would just call out and also throw kudos to Avery for some improvement, because I admittedly was not that into it at the beginning. I'm like, I think there's room for improvement. And even just like casually and seriously watching the major, like you can tell the things you're saying. And it's just, it's little tweaks that go a long way. Like just a little bit of more energy in your pronunciation, being able to talk a little bit more, not having to have every single thing be super analytical, and even just like inflection stuff. And it looks like it is something that he is really working at. And there's been like a noticeable level of improvement in like 3 months, which is great.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it also helps that I think Avery's the kind of person who, the more comfortable he is with someone, the more he's going to open up, especially in the humor aspect of things. I think he's somebody who like it can be very sarcastic, but like when he doesn't know you super well, he's going to be more respectful. Or just quiet. Yeah, exactly. So I think the more we get to know each other and hang out, the more comfortable he feels doing that. So, so I think all in all, it's good. And so I'm just hoping that one of these series is pretty hype, and we get to showcase what we would sound like in an arena at TI or whatever. So. That's fingers crossed for that. But either way, I'm still very happy that we got to cast some playoffs, because otherwise I would be doing nothing on these days. I think they kind of realized that. They were like, yeah, we do want more variety, but we don't have the budget to pay more people, but we are already paying Cap, so I guess he could cast some games. I was like, all right. Because I know, like I was talking to Blitz about this, and like I know some people would be like perfectly happy with just like getting paid and like not having to do any work, but I'm not that kind of person. I do not like not working, generally speaking. I like having something to do.
Yeah, welcome to what I have to talk to my therapist about every week. Yeah, man, I've been enjoying the cast, so I think that people are going to tune in. It's interesting to me that how far away is the studio from where they're playing? Because I'm like seeing people bounce back and forth between like the broadcast decks with Flax and then going over to the arena to cast.
Yeah, so we're in a similar situation that we were for the DPC, where we go to the studio. And the studio is probably like 20-25 minutes away, not very far. Um, and the games are played out here in the hotel. And that's where also our Slacks and Tsunami are constantly hanging out because they have this again. They have this sideline reporter bit, which Slacks and Tsunami are doing a very good job with. But it's one of those things where it's like this is what we hope to do production wise. That doesn't quite mesh with like Dota, you know. So they want to be able to like talk to one of the players between the games and stuff like mid-series like you would with traditional sports because that's where some of the production guys come from is they come from the television side and that doesn't mesh with what Dota is. So ultimately it just ends up being Slacks and Tsunami doing bits.
They're working pretty hard too. Like that, that's both. They're cast well for that. Like I think that's a good casting. They're probably two of the best people to do that. But also,
Yes.
when I watch that, I get stressed out for them because when I have my producer hat on, I'm thinking about like, man, they are really having to carry what's going on to make anything be interesting on this stream right now. And that's not an easy task to just be like, hey, talent, go be entertaining with no one.
Yeah, 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 and it's the perfect. That's why I was talking to somebody on the tournament production side, and they said there's nobody on the CS:GO side that holds a candle to like Slacks. Mm-hmm. Like the thing is that like Slacks is made for that exact role. Put a camera in front of him and just watch him go wild and watch his brain figure out entertaining things and shit to say out of fucking nothing. And I think that's incredibly unique and hard to do. And Slacks is like incredibly valuable to the Dota community for that fact.
We can stop talking him up. Is there anything else you wanna hit on before I toss it over to the Patreon plug?
Not really. I think all in all, yeah, that's just the way the group stage has gone. Now we're in the middle of playoffs. I don't really think I played some Mafia for the first time in forever, and
I'm a little jealous about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I played a just fucking nasty game of Mafia. Let me tell you about this game of Mafia, all right? It's been a while since I played, and you know what? I was just like, why not? I'll play a game of Mafia. The thing is that so many people take it too seriously that it kind of turns me off. It becomes like, it's just stressful and drama-filled, and I don't want to be a part of it. It's not relaxing to my day. So I was like, yeah, I'll play a game of Mafia. And of course, I end up getting Mafia in the card draw. And so I was like, well, fuck, man, this isn't going to be relaxing. Because playing Mafia is not relaxing, right? You naturally have to be duplicitous. So you have to act. So it's like, it's not relaxing at all. And I played a damn good town. I had a lot of people believing in me. There were some doubters, but I silenced those doubters by putting shade on my other Mafia member. So I did the thing where I put shade on one of my Mafia that I thought was being sus. Like they were being questionable. They were being nervous. And I thought it was like, okay, easy way for me to like put some divide. So I put some pressure on them, but then what I did is I did the 2 split. You know, where I saw somebody else that was being questionable. And I was like, I think it's like between I want to kill one of these 2 people. And then I kind of like leaned towards the other person, you know, so I didn't kill my own Mafia right away. And then the next day I did kill them because they couldn't defend themselves well enough for me to like clear them. So we lost our 2 kill power, but I was the one who killed him. And then I killed JJ, who was leading the town and also had cleared me and said like he had thought I was town. So then I killed the person who I had pocketed. And at that point in time, my defense, I thought my defense was ironclad. You know, like what mafia member leads a kill on their other mafia and kills somebody who clears them as town and pockets them. You know.
So did you win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was me. It was me and a tournament admin. And she was also very good. I knew we had the game won for sure. So we locked it down. Neither one of us died. We ended up going down to a 5-person deal. Got somebody else killed. It was great.
What a hero. I haven't played Mafia in esports event in probably like 6 years.
Are you good at it?
I think this is something that you're not supposed to say about yourself, but I am remarkably good at lying.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. No, it is one of those skills that it's like I always feel kind of bad when I'm good at Mafia. I'm just like, that probably doesn't say the greatest things about me. You know, it's like the people who are like really bad at Mafia usually have a better opinion of them as a result. Like, oh, isn't that cute? That guy he can't lie to save his life. It's so obvious when he's Mafia, you know?
Yeah, I can really be a deplorable fuck. Like, there is no low too low because my competitiveness just takes over, and then I will exploit the fact that I am, like, above average at deceiving people, which does come in handy sometimes when you're not playing Mafia, but you know, it's a power to wield.
Oh yeah, let me TLDR this Munchkin game that I was playing with Moxie Pyrian and shit, who else was there? Somebody else was there. Lyrical, maybe?
Is this the one that I saw all over Twitter? Like, I saw a lot of Munchkin talk on Twitter.
Yes, that is the one. And so it was JJ. That was the other person. Sorry. So it ended up going around as it does. If you played Munchkin, the whole point is to get to level 10. Everybody gets to level 9. It just keeps on going around as you screw each other over. Moxie had a guaranteed win because everybody threw all their cards at me. It was between me and Moxie at one point. Everybody threw all their cards to stop me. I barely didn't get it, and nobody had anything left to stop Moxie. Moxie had a guaranteed win. And this was before I played Mafia. So, you know, I was already on those Mafia vibes. I told Moxie, I said, Moxie, I just want to be second. Let me join you. I just want the chess. Just give me second. All right. Let me join in on the fight. And she had a guaranteed kill on it. And she believed me that I just wanted a ceremonial second place. And allowed me to join in on slaying the monster. And then I played a card that made it so the monster runs away. She was so mad at me.
So to your point earlier, Moxie, good person.
Yeah, she trusted me. She should not have.
Kind of a shithead.
Yeah, I did that, and then I went and played Mafia and schooled a bunch of people as Mafia, and that was my evil night. I exercised all the evil tendencies out of me in 2 board games.
I would say about once a year, my friends and I, my local friends from like school and shit, will play Resistance, which is like a Mafia-esque game, very close, like in the same vein, like something that's Secret Hitler. Yep. And every time we're always like, oh man, we're gonna have so much fun, we're gonna get a couple drinks, it'll be nice. And then every time it devolves into people just being violently upset at a couple people, one of them always including me. And we've stopped playing for the last couple of years, not just because of COVID, but because we developed such a strong meta that myself and my friend Brian don't get to play, and we're just voted out. So we've had to find new games to play because my friends now think it is fun to just night one kill me every game, deception game. So I just want more people to play with. I just want more people to play with.
We can play the next time you're at a Dota event. I don't play Mafia very often, but if you're playing, I will play.
I'll see you in Dallas, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll
TBD.
see.
Big ol' asterisk on that, because Liquid has to qualify.
Yes, they do.
And speaking of things that people have to do, Liquid has to win their game, and you being the person listening to the audio right now should go to patreon.com/signpoll, where you, for $5 a month, or really like $1 a month, whatever you will feel you can push on over to our very small yet still war chests to participate in the show and say thank you, because it helps keep us fed and happy and capitalism. So thanks. And some people submit questions every month that we answer at the end of the show, like we're going to do right now. Do you have one of those, Cap?
Erds says, hey guys, to be honest, I don't care at all if you don't answer. Well, we're gonna.
Oh, shit.
But recently, Suns fan talked about not accepting sponsors if he wasn't happy with promoting their products, especially while not understanding their product. Presumably like NFTs or crypto stuff. I was curious, as somebody who has never produced online content, how prevalent/common are sponsor offers in esports that the average person/fan never hear about because nobody relatively prevalent accepts their offer?
I can actually answer this.
Yeah.
We have had, I want to say 3 or 4 people in the last year cold email me at least about this specific show. Some of products you've probably heard before, like they might involve razors. Some products you definitely haven't heard before. And most of the time, sponsors, unless you have a giant audience, and to be clear, we don't. A couple thousand people will listen to almost every show, which is way above average for podcasts, but not enough for an advertiser to see ROI on it, because more often than not, they're thinking about it's called CPM, and basically it's every impression of 1,000 people. So when you're looking at a YouTube video that has 1 million views, you're like, okay, that has good revenue because so many thousands of people are watching it. So while 1,000 people listening to a podcast might be more than 98% of podcasts, it's not much for advertisers. So in that range for us specifically, a lot of people who want to do deals aren't just cash income for us to be hey everybody, I love bicycle playing cards. Don't know where I pulled that one from. I was looking. I was looking around the room for something to to note, and the first thing that came to my mind was a deck of cards.
All right.
Okay, whatever. Okay, hey, we're bicycle playing cards. We want to give you money per the show. They're not going to give you a lot of money, if anything. So what you get is mostly sponsors who want to have a share of revenue for you. That's a razor company that would be hey, we'll send you a package of a bunch of razors. You can shave your balls with them. You got an ice cream for your face. You get that for free, and then just promote the stuff on the show. And then if you get so many sales, we will do a payout. And then what it becomes, and probably what Suns fan is talking about, is a decision of what is worth to peddle to fans. Because I'm sure that if Austin and I wanted to, we could talk to you about razors and put an ad spot in the middle of the show. But then we're talking about doing something that most of you will not like, and the net gain from it would be somewhere between $0 or maybe at most a couple $100. And to me, let me sound like a hero real quick. To me, that small amount of money is not worth my time to make it happen, but also annoying you listening to this with an ad. If there's someone who wanted to pay us a proper amount of money, then yeah, we would put an ad in the show. But though that's really few and far between, unless you're very large. I'm doing it for you, and so is probably Suns fan, in terms of not taking icky sponsorships. And that's not even to talk about the morals of more icky sponsorships, if a betting company or Saudi Arabia or someone was coming knocking on our door. So we would rather get our money from Patreon if we get any money at all. Like, so thank you, Erds. And also, as I was answering that question, Cap Internet died. So I'm just going to say, because I know that this has been a contentious point for some people, I know it's been a contentious point. I don't want to say that I'm calling you out, but I'm going to end the show. Okay? So there will be a hard stop, and you will know that the show is over right now. I lied. It's actually right now. Fuck you. I lied again. I didn't want to say fuck you. That felt rude. I love you. Is that better? This is really the end.